Sebastian, let's start this conversation with the right tone, the right level of respect.
You're enormously good looking.
Thank you, darling. 242 Grand Prix. You've won 53 of them. You've won, therefore, more than 1 in 5. You've started from pole position for a quarter of them. You've been on the podium for half of them. 4 times a world champion, 3 times second, only beaten by Hamilton, Schumacher, Fangio. You're up there with the all-time greats. Pretty impressive.
Thank you very much. How about my looks?
I can't see you.
Exactly.
But I do
No,
remember
don't worry.
you.
I don't have any false hopes. I think my stats are better than my looks, but yeah, I'm thinking 200 and how many?
242.
It's a lot of How many races did you do?
158, mostly badly.
But you, at your time, they didn't have that many races. So, but
No.
still, it sounds like a lot of.
It does sound like a lot of races. Sounds like. Well, we'll talk about whether it's enough races or not soon.
Not enough wins. Can't never be enough wins, but
yeah. That's amazing, and I want to just say I want the right level of respect because I think it's important for our friends, for them to remember just what you've achieved in this business and that you'll always be up there with the all-time greats. Nobody can ever take that away from you. But let's talk about this year first. Get that out of the way, shall we? What do you call this car? Is it Lucilla?
it is the name of this car, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the honest truth is that we hope that Lucilla or this year's car, has a better start. Obviously, we are disappointed as a team that we are not in a position to fight for wins and podiums, what we pretty much expected. So, if you have that high expectations, then it's always going to be a disappointment if you don't achieve those. But it is what it is now, and we need to, hang in there and make sure we do the best we can. And despite the fact that I'm leaving the team, I try to do my job and try to help, all those people that have given me so much and helped me so much in the recent years.
Yeah, I mean, one point in the first two races, we know we had the shunt in the second race, but what's the matter with it? It doesn't seem fast anywhere on the straights or the corners. Can you fix it in this compressed season?
Well, as I said, it's not where we wanted it to be, where we expected it to be. And the honest answer is that you cannot fix it overnight. Now, obviously, looking at the schedule, we will have race, followed by race, week in, week out, and not much time, So we'll see how long the season ends up being. I hope very long. But as I said, we try to do the best we can. People in the factory are obviously disappointed, down, but we have to remain sort of optimistic and hopeful that we can still, do good races this year. Anything is possible. I was joking earlier when I came down from the press conference saying that if all the people in front of me on Sunday, I assume there might be a couple after Saturday, crash in the first corner, then happy days, we win the race. So obviously I know that it's not very likely and I don't wish other people to crash out in front of me, but I think, I am always hopeful when I'm on the grid that we can finish in a better position than we start from.
I was let go by McLaren, and in fact, at this very track, when I was driving for Benetton, a journalist came up to me and said, "What are you going to do next year?" I said, "Well, I'm driving for Benetton, I hope." They said, No, Patresi's got your job, didn't you know?" And this was like August. It really hurts, and I'm not a multiple champion. How do you feel that Ferrari have said they don't want you for next year? Are you resigned to it? Are you hurt? Are you angry?
Well, I generally move on. So, but since obviously you've asked the question, I think a decision is a decision, and I'm a professional in that regard, and I take I have to take any decision. But obviously the way could have been maybe a bit different, but it is what it is. And as I said previously, and that's the truth, I feel that a lot of this is a big team and a big brand, and a lot of people have given so much, invested their time, their passion in the cars, and I drove one of the cars in the last years, so I feel whatever might be my feeling about it, I owe them respect and give them everything I can, and trying to have the best season that we can, despite the difficult situation.
Your career has always been on the up with you in control. Suddenly you're not in control. How does that feel?
Exciting, to be honest. I mean, it's I don't know what happened to you then after you found out. What was the
I've got
ultimate?
some other drives actually, some good, and I came back again actually.
So you see, so I think exciting in the way that if one door shuts, I think another one will open. So whatever that door will be, I don't know yet, is the honest answer. It might be, I don't know, staying in Formula One. It might be racing something else. It might be saying goodbye for a certain time, for good. Age is obviously not a problem because I still have a lot of years on the clock, but I have, for me, I have, I think also in this period found out that I love to compete. I love to win. Obviously, I would have hoped that there's more races you mentioned that I won, but it's still not too bad. So that's why I'm here. I'm not here to just participate, not here to be a Formula One driver, not here to, make money. I think I've been in a very fortunate position, and I should be okay unless I completely mismanage. But I'm really here to, to achieve something, and I will see in the next time whether that's in the cards or it's not. I think that will drive my decision.
You're 33 years old. Michael was older than you when he won his last 3 championships.
Yeah.
Fernando's
Lewis is older than me, winning championships.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Fernando's coming back at 39. Maybe there's plenty of life.
Fernando is also superhuman, so he could come back at 59 also.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he probably will.
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah, as you say, there's some miles on the clock for you yet, if you want it.
Yeah, exactly. I think, it's obviously, like you said, it's hard. Some situations in life are sometimes you land flat on your face. I guess it's what they call part of life, but I think it's also, I'm generally optimistic, so I take this as also an opportunity to get to know myself better in terms of, if you do what you do and you just keep doing what you do, then you know what you have to do. But if you are obviously in a new situation, which this one is, then I have to challenge myself and really ask and dig deep and ask myself, what do I want? And I think the conclusion is what I mentioned. So given the right circumstances, I feel I have a lot more to give. Given the right circumstances, I feel I can be, that's the confidence that I have, be as good as anyone else. But things need to be right. And as I said, at the moment, it's probably this time where I try to understand what's possible, what's not possible, and then make the decision.
Well, let's talk about the right circumstances. Red Bull appear to be saying they don't have a spot for you. That seems clear.
Yeah, I think obviously if you go by paper, then I don't know, Lewis doesn't have a contract yet, so yeah. I don't know if I guess he will continue. Yeah. I don't think that he has made any signs of retiring or doing something else. So I think one approach is just to go by who is probably signed and who is not signed. And the other one is, to, obviously I know a lot of people in the paddock. I don't know everyone, but I guess most of them. To check and see what they're up to, what are the next year's planning and so on. So it's not that difficult, to be honest, to make contact and therefore understand what the situation is. And then it's more difficult for me to then decide in terms of, is that something I want or don't want.
Racing Point have a faster car than Ferrari at the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
Mercedes engine. They're morphing into the Aston Martin team next year. That must be quite attractive to you.
Well, I think it sounds exciting from the outside. Obviously, I'm not part of that team and I don't know the insides. I don't know the exact plans and so on. But surely at the moment, if you look at that's another thing. F1 moves so fast these days, but the world really moves so fast these days. People have opinions quick. They form opinions very quick. They change opinion quickly. So at the moment, you look and it looks probably great. But I think I've been around for such a long time that you try to obviously look beyond that in terms of seeing what might form up and what might not form up along the grid. So,
could you do like Kimi's done, go back to a midfield to back end of the grid team, treading water? Have you got the motivation to do that? Or?
Well, I think you read the stats earlier, and I think if anything, it reminds me of the fact that I have achieved a lot and I'm willing to achieve more. Then if you sign for a team that is really out of, I don't know, out of, how do you say, out of range,
Yeah.
then probably that answers your question. So, you know, I want to win. So I know that, and I think we all know that at the moment you need to be in a certain car to be able to win. That's probably not in the cards, and then you obviously I have to sort of evaluate whether there's anything that comes close to that.
I was having dinner with Christian Horner in Suzuka 2014, late at night. His phone buzzes with a text. I said, oh, Sebastian wants me to go and see him in his room. I think I know what that's about. You were announced as a Ferrari driver, I think the very next day. Do you regret leaving Red Bull and going to Ferrari?
No, I don't.
Just as well, because the boss is walking past.
Touch off. No, I don't, and that's the truth. Obviously, what I do regret is a little bit the way things ended. Obviously, we didn't finish on a high, but that's how the sport is sometimes. But more so, I think it was a bit of a weird. Looking back, it was a bit of a weird constellation with contracts. What I was supposed to say, allowed to say, not allowed to say. That made it a bit awkward. So when Christian probably received that text, he knew what was coming, and we all knew what was coming, but you know, nobody was mentioning it yet. So and that, looking back, I have to say I regret, because I think we had such a fantastic time together, you know, and we achieved so much, but we had a blast, really, you know. And I think I should have listened to my gut feel more, my stomach more, in terms of coming straight away, because I think there was also nothing wrong with that. I mean, Ferrari has always been a dream of mine. You know, I don't want to say I was brainwashed, but obviously massively inspired by my childhood, by Michael in the red car. I think it is a fascinating brand. So for the right reasons, I think I was attracted by that attractive redhead or red-haired woman
Lucilla.
that showed interest, and and I think, you know, looking back, my target was to win the championship. We didn't do that, so in that regard we failed, but still we had some really good years and some highlights and good races, so I don't regret it.
You wanted to emulate what the great Michael Schumacher did, go to Ferrari, win some world championships. That's what motivated you as a kid. Does that hurt? Is that going to be too painful, or it's just one of those things?
No, not really. I mean, it's, you know, I think I was realistic enough back then to know that I never wanted to step in Michael's footsteps, like literally. But of course, as I said, I was inspired by him and still am inspired by him, because I think he is the best there ever was. I was hoping to take some championships away from Lewis so that Michael's record stands a bit longer. Now we are a bit out of striking distance to try and block him. But, you know, I think I wanted this to work for myself more than for Michael, you see what I mean? And it is a shame it didn't work out, but I'm also, I think, old enough and mature enough to know why and see the reasons and move on. That's the truth. Do
drivers these days get burnout? You were karting from before the age of 4. You were a Red Bull junior at 11. You almost don't have a childhood as a professional driver these days, and suddenly you get to your early 30s and you've been at it 30 years.
Yeah, but then if you do something you love, you like, then you're not keeping track for the time. So I think you can say the same thing about your time. You've done it your whole life, and look at you, you're still here. So, you know, you must like something about it, otherwise
I love everything about it.
I mean, I hope they pay you well, but apart from that, I think you know, if you have been here for such a long time, you must like something. So and that's how I feel. I think you could say the same thing to any athlete, to any sportsman that has sacrificed his or her childhood to become professional and to achieve something in their sports. But I don't think it's fair to look at that way. I don't think it's fair to look back and say, as a child, I sacrificed my time. I didn't have the weekends off kissing girls and experimenting and doing that stuff when I was in puberty. I don't feel I missed out, you know, because I had something better. I don't want to be rude either, but something better to do. You see what I mean? And I got married last year, so I still got to kiss a girl at some point. No, I think that's not the right way to look at it.
So we have to talk about this weekend, of course. Race coming up, race 3. You're 2 times a winner here. You've not qualified outside of the top 5 here since 2008, believe it or not. You're a bit handy. You're a little bit handy around this track. Can you make the difference?
I think you can. I like this track. It's the only thing, it feels a bit weird. I mean, not a bit. It's very weird coming. I don't know. In Austria, I've been without fans, so it's not the same. But here, I've never been without people, and it feels strange. Yeah. So we see how the weekend. Anyways, it's not the same at the moment. But I like the track, and I think it should be a bit better for us, given the lack of straight line speed at the moment, given the fact that efficiency is not important around this track and you just need downforce. We're not best in class in terms of downforce, but I hope we're in a better shape, and I hope I can keep the stat up to qualify in the top 5. It's also no secret that around here you need to qualify further up, because it is more difficult to pass.
As always, a pleasure to talk to you, Seb. I hope you're around for a good few years yet.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I need you. Maybe I'm in your seat in a couple of years. So.
You're welcome to it.
No, yeah.
It's going to happen one day.
No, I'm not. I don't know. I like to talk, but I'm not sure I could do that side of it. So.
Why? You talk. Your answers are always twice as long, but they're good. It's not.
Yeah, but I think it's easier to give answers than to ask questions and to keep track of where the conversation is going. So I don't think it's that easy. I mean, you don't have intelligence in your ear, so
no.
You have to prep for it and so on. Which I guess after a while you might get into it. But just I don't know. I don't see myself wanting to be the expert, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, but you've got so much knowledge. Every time something happens on track, you can relate to something that happened in your life, in your career.
Yeah, but then I think I'm also, that's what I mentioned earlier in terms of exciting times. I think it's also a great challenge to expand your knowledge in terms of maybe do something different. So who knows what that is? I don't know what that is for myself yet.
But didn't you find in lockdown, if that resembles a bit of retirement, how quickly you get through your to-do list? If that's what retirement looks like, I'm not really interested.
I have a long to-do list. So I have you put it nicely that I didn't have much time for anything else previous in my life. So the list just keeps getting longer.
Yeah.
No, I like to occupy myself. So the list there's still a lot of things on the list. I've got 3 kids, so it's not so easy to also go through the list. But I did also, feel after a couple of weeks that I definitely missed driving, and it was nice to be back in the car. And that's where, this mixed emotions come from in terms of, knowing what I want in one way and knowing what I don't want in another way. So now I need to figure out whether I find something that fits most of those schemes.
Do Ferrari drivers change nappies?
Well, I think Charles doesn't, but I do, and I've done, also as a Red Bull driver, so also Red Bull drivers change nappies.
There you have it.
Get the hint?
It's a winning
Okay.
Yeah, it's a winning line. We can't even shake hands.
No, it's true.
When we can get rid of
five.
these things. Yeah, fake high five.